Hey, Celtics Nation. We're back with an exclusive video and the latest updates on our beloved Boston Celtics. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. This way, you'll always stay up to date and never miss out on any exclusive news. The rumor that has been circling around the NBA world in the last few days feels like something taken straight out of a basketball fairy tale, but it is catching fire among insiders, fans, and media outlets. Gordon Hayward is on his way back to the Boston Celtics. The whispers started softly, as they usually do, with vague tweets and anonymous sources saying that the team had re-established contact with the veteran forward. Then, like a match dropped on dry grass, the speculation exploded across social media, with Celtics fans debating endlessly about what a reunion could mean for a franchise already sitting near the top of the Eastern Conference. The return of Hayward, a player who had one of the most infamous injuries in Celtics history, and then a roller coaster stint that never quite matched expectations, feels both shocking and oddly poetic. Could this be the perfect chance for redemption? Could Boston be willing to bring back the man who left under complicated circumstances, only to return as a stabilizing presence for a roster filled with young stars? The noise is deafening, and it looks like this rumor is not going away anytime soon. When Hayward first signed with Boston back in 2017, the excitement was electric. Fans believed they were witnessing the formation of a new super team. Hayward joining forces with Kyrie Irving and the young duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But destiny had other plans, and within just a few minutes of his very first game in green, Hayward suffered that horrific ankle injury that changed the trajectory of his Celtics career forever. From that point on, it felt like he was always chasing the player he once was, struggling with consistency, missing stretches due to nagging injuries, and never fully finding his place within a rotation that constantly evolved. Eventually, the breakup happened when he left for the Charlotte Hornets, and later found himself with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, with whispers of a reunion swirling, the narrative is being rewritten. The idea of Hayward walking back into TD Garden, wearing Celtic green once again, brings chills to those who remember both the heartbreak and the hope that defined his first stint in Boston. This is about more than basketball. It's about unfinished business. The Celtics today are not the same team that Hayward left behind. They are a battle-tested squad, fresh off deep playoff runs, and built around the undeniable superstar duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. The culture is sharper, the chemistry tighter, and the expectations higher than ever before. But one thing this team has been searching for is that steady veteran presence, someone who can come off the bench, provide reliable scoring, and bring a sense of calm when the pace of the game threatens to spiral out of control. Hayward, now in the later stages of his career, fits that role almost perfectly. No longer expected to carry the weight of a franchise on his shoulders, he could become the glue guy, the experienced hand that balances the firepower of Boston's young core. For Hayward, this could be the ultimate opportunity to reinvent his story, to transform from a player who never quite delivered as expected into the one who helped push a championship-caliber team over the final hurdle. And for Celtics fans, it's a chance to close an old wound and write a new chapter. Still, as with every rumor, there are doubts and questions swirling. What version of Gordon Hayward would Boston actually be getting? The sharp-shooting, versatile wing who once was an all-star in Utah? Or the often injured, inconsistent player who seemed unable to stay on the floor long enough to truly make an impact during his previous stint in Boston? Age and injuries have a way of catching up with every player, and Hayward is no exception. His last seasons have been marked by flashes of brilliance, but also stretches where he simply disappeared, either due to health or struggles with rhythm. The Celtics front office will need to weigh the risk carefully, especially considering their current roster construction and their limited flexibility in terms of contracts. Yet, sometimes the intangible value of leadership, of familiarity, and of storylines that ignite an entire fan base outweighs the raw numbers. Bringing back Hayward is a gamble, but one that might just pay off if everything falls into place. The fan reaction has been fascinating to watch unfold. Celtics Nation is divided. almost perfectly split down the middle between those who welcome Hayward back with open arms and those who still feel the sting of what could have been. For many, Hayward represents the biggest what-if of the modern Celtics era. What if that injury never happened? What if he had lived up to the hype? Could Boston already have another championship banner hanging in the rafters if things had gone differently? Those are the kinds of emotional questions that fuel sports debates for decades. On the other side, you have the hopefuls, the ones who see this as a story of redemption, a narrative, straight out of a movie. They believe Hayward still has something left in the tank, that he can finally give Boston what he was supposed to years ago. Social media is buzzing with highlight clips, throwback memories, and speculative lineups featuring Hayward sliding into the rotation. Whether you're for or against the idea, one thing is certain. This rumor has reignited the passion and chatter surrounding the Celtics in a way few stories could. Behind the scenes, insiders whisper that Boston's leadership sees value in the idea of a reunion not only on the court, but also in the locker room. Hayward, by all accounts, has always been respected as a professional, a player who shows up, puts in the work, and maintains composure even under pressure. That kind of demeanor can be invaluable when the playoffs roll around, when tempers flare, and when the pressure of chasing a title becomes almost unbearable. Adding someone who knows the city, who understands the unique expectations of playing in Boston, and who still has unfinished business could be exactly the type of low-key but impactful move that championship teams make. Nobody is suggesting he will return to all-star form, but nobody is asking him to. The Celtics want a role player with experience. The fans crave closure to an unfinished story, and Hayward himself might be looking for the one place where he can finally turn the page on a career that has always felt like it was missing that one perfect ending. If this move does happen, it will be one of those rare NBA stories that feel almost cinematic because the emotional layers attached to Gordon Hayward's return are impossible to ignore. Think about it. Boston was supposed to be the place where Hayward reached his peak, the city that would witness his prime years, and the home court where he and Kyrie Irving would create something special alongside the emerging talents of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Instead, fate intervened in the cruelest way possible, and Hayward's most memorable Celtics moment became that gruesome injury replayed endlessly on highlight reels. Coming back now, years later, would flip that narrative on its head. Instead of being remembered primarily as a cautionary tale, Hayward could finally carve out a legacy rooted in resilience, persistence, and closure. Boston fans have always had a soft spot for comeback stories, and nothing would fuel the city's basketball passion more than watching a player return to the same stage where he once fell, only to rise again. That type of story transcends sports. It becomes folklore, the kind of legend that fans pass down long after the player himself has retired. At the same time, the basketball logistics cannot be overlooked. Boston's system under coach Joe Mazzulla thrives on ball movement, spacing, and versatility, and Hayward, even now, remains a player who fits those principles. He may not explode to the rim with the same force, but he can still handle the ball, create shots, and knock down open looks when defenses collapse on Tatum or Brown. The Celtics have built one of the league's most suffocating defenses, and while Hayward isn't the elite stopper he once was, his length and awareness could allow him to contribute in spurts, particularly against second units. More importantly, he would give Boston another reliable option on nights when the offense grows stagnant. Having Hayward come off the bench or slide into a small ball lineup would add another dimension. And sometimes that's the kind of subtle change that shifts the balance in a playoff series. Depth wins championships, and adding a veteran with experience in big games could be invaluable. The psychology of a reunion like this also deserves attention. The Celtics locker room has evolved since Hayward left, but the leadership dynamic has matured with Tatum and Brown taking center stage, alongside steady influences like Al Horford. Bringing in Hayward now would be different than before because the hierarchy is already clearly established. Back in 2017, there were questions about whose team it really was, with Kyrie and Hayward seen as the big stars. Now, there's no doubt this is Tatum's and Brown's team. That clarity could make it easier for Hayward to embrace his role without the weight of expectations or confusion about responsibilities. He wouldn't need to force anything, and that freedom could actually bring out the best in him. Athletes often talk about how important peace of mind is, and for Hayward, returning to Boston under completely different circumstances might finally give him the mental space he never had before. Instead of being the savior, he could be the steady hand that helps the saviors finish the job. That shift changes everything about how his presence would be perceived, both inside the locker room and among the fan base. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Another interesting layer is how this move could influence the Celtics' playoff identity. Boston has often been criticized for being too reliant on Tatum and Brown, especially when opposing defenses lock in during the postseason. The addition of Hayward would provide yet another outlet, another weapon who can create his own shot when the offense bogs down. Imagine a tense playoff game where the defense keys in on Tatum, Brown struggles with efficiency, and suddenly it's Hayward stepping up with 8 quick points to steady the ship. That's the type of role veteran players thrive in, and it's the kind of contribution that can swing a Game 5 or Game 7. His ability to slow down the tempo, hit timely mid-range shots, or even make the extra pass could give Boston a level of flexibility they've been missing. While some might dismiss it as marginal, playoff basketball is about moments, and Hayward has always had the skill set to deliver those moments, even if inconsistently. Bringing him back would not only add depth, but also give the Celtics another way to adapt when games turn into half-court battles of execution and patience. And then there's the personal side of it all, which cannot be underestimated. Hayward has always been a player admired for his professionalism, his calm demeanor, and his ability to carry himself with quiet determination. A return to Boston wouldn't just be about basketball. It would be about closure, about giving both sides a chance to rewrite the ending of a story that felt painfully incomplete. Fans still remember the way his tenure started, and many have never stopped wondering what could have been. If he comes back, even in a reduced role, it would symbolize a full-circle moment, one that fans would embrace not just with excitement, but with gratitude. It's rare in sports for a player to get a second chance to finish what he started in the same city, with the same fan base, and in this case, the emotional impact might be as powerful as the on-court contribution. For Hayward himself, it would mean walking back into the Garden not as a reminder of failure, but as a story of perseverance. That's something bigger than wins and losses. It's about legacy, and legacies are what make Boston sports truly iconic. At the end of the day, whether this rumor becomes reality or not, the conversation it has sparked tells us everything we need to know about its significance. Fans are talking, debating, dreaming, and even arguing about Gordon Hayward in a way they haven't in years. That alone shows how powerful the idea of his return is. Boston is a city built on passion, resilience, and the constant hunger for greatness, and Hayward's name is once again woven into that narrative. If he signs, it could be the start of something unforgettable. If he doesn't, it will remain one of those tantalizing what-if scenarios that fans revisit for decades. But right now, with rumors swirling and speculation heating up, one thing is crystal clear. The possibility of Gordon Hayward walking back onto the parquet floor in Celtic green has reignited a flame that never truly burned out. And whether that flame leads to triumph or just another twist in the story, it is a reminder that in sports, hope and drama are as important as the final score. This is Boston, this is basketball, and this could be the comeback story of the year. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.